Değerli konuklar, hepiniz tekrar hoş geldiniz. Sempozyumumuz yönetmen Thomas Arslan söyleşisiyle devam ediyor. Söyleşimizin moderatörleri Profesör Doktor Serdar Öztürk ve Doktor Eda Arısoy'dur. Hocam hoş geldiniz. Söyleşiye başlamadan önce konuğumuzla ilgili kısa bilgi vermek istiyorum. Thomas Arslan 1999'da yönetmenliğini ve senaristliğini üstlendiği Dealer adlı dramatik filmiyle Berlin Uluslararası Film Festivali'nde Fipresse ödülünü ve Ekümenik Jüri ödülünü kazandı. 2013'te yönetmenliğini ve senaristliğini üstlendiği Gold adlı western türündeki filmiyle Berlin Uluslararası Film Festivali'nde ve Busan Uluslararası Fantastik Film Festivali'nde yarıştı. Yönetmenin diğer sinema filmleri Gölgede, Tatil, Güzel Bir Gün ve Kardeşlerdir. Thomas Bey hoş geldiniz. Buyurun, sahneye davet ediyorum.
Geschichte. Ich unterrichte die Geschichte des Alltags, Dinge des täglichen Lebens.
Mikrofon. Okay, Thomas Arslan, first of all, I would like to say welcome to our symposium. And the symposium is being held for the first time in Ankara. It's a great coincidence that you have a different connection with Ankara because it's your father's homeland. And I guess we will be talking about this Authorian site in the previous minutes. So I would like to start with a very general question about your cinematographic point of view and your creative process. As we know, most of the directors have different creation processes and different styles, and this always arouses curiosity for us, for the audiences. And I would like to know how a Thomas Arslan film come about. What is the when the idea comes, how you formulate it, and how it goes.
Yeah, that's a difficult question as a first question. Yeah, I try to tell you something about this. I wouldn't say that I'm trying to have a special style or whatever. Of course, I think a lot about how you can do this and that film, but in general, I have mostly no concrete story in my mind as a starting point or a theme, whatever. So I'm starting from very simple things normally. So when I saw a picture somewhere or a sentence in a book, whatever, but which inspired me, this is very, very simple at least. So and the story or everything else is going to come very much later. So I make some notes and very loose notes, and it took some time when it going to develop something out of this, but mostly I start from very simple things, simple impressions when I walk around or watch some, as I said, watch some pictures somewhere or whatever, special light on a special place. And this is mostly my starting point. Mostly, not every time, but...
Do you ever feel stuck in this process? And if so, how do you? What are your sources of advancement? How you go further?
Yes, of course, this is a very common experience for me to be stuck in some parts of the process as well. This is a part of the work, I guess. Especially during the writing and during the shooting. Not so much in the period of preparing a film, looking for locations or whatever, which is a very nice period of developing a film, and the editing as well. I this is the period I most prefer, I guess, the editing, when everything is there and you can, the social chaos of the shooting is done, and you can really work concentrated on what you have shot. So this is mostly not that difficult, but especially the period of writing and shooting is different, of course. So during the writing, I guess it's normal to get stuck somewhere, and then I have to do, of course, like most of the people who are writing scripts, I have to do several drafts and until I'm nearly satisfied, and the whole and in the preparation as a film during the shooting, I'm changing a lot concerning the script as well, together with the actors or at my own. And shooting, of course, this is a very special period as well. So because there are so many opportunities to get stuck. So sometimes I feel stuck for because of myself, because I'm mostly most times I'm very well prepared, but when you're on the set, when you watch the location several times, you know the actors and so on, but and you had a plan what to do, but sometimes it's like this on the set, it doesn't work. So you're made up, you thought a lot about this what to do there, but sometimes it doesn't work. The camera angle is wrong, the dialogue sounds not that good than you thought before. This is, of course, complicated, so and you have to change things immediately on set, and sometimes even this does not work perfectly, so I mostly have 1 or 2 reserve days pre-planned. So because in nearly every film I have to reshoot a bigger scene completely new. So because I'm not satisfied with the result, it's mostly a very big scene. So and these are really complicated topics, of course, and I'm mostly going to use this reserve days for this kind of reshooting. So and of course, there's a lot of different problems. The actors are, even if they're very professional, they're not machines. They have bad days sometimes, so for private reasons, or sometimes it has something to do with the dialogue as well. So and it's happened to me nearly at every shooting as well, that there's one day where even a very good actor has a kind of blackout. Nothing is going to work, so because he had a bad day, bad private experience outside the shooting or whatever, so, and then you have, of course, you have to do something, so to be, and on the other hand, you can't do very much, so just to be patient, and sometimes it helps when you're going to change the dialogue a bit, and to make a little break, even if you don't have any time, but you have to do it, and these are serious problems during this period. So, and it's getting, for me, it's getting much easier when these parts are done, the writing, the shooting, and the editing is really, I really like the editing period, so because it's different.
And there may be some technical problem as well, because it's all very dependent to the technique. Filmmaking.
Yes, of course, but that's not for me. It's sometimes it's good to have this kind of technical problems because it gives you some time, some free time to think about your scene. So where in parallel the other guys have to fix something, to fix the light or whatever. So and this gives you some time to think about your your scene, your film, and this is not the worst thing. So
it's like a break.
Like a break, and somehow
Okay.
that you can use for yourself. Yeah.
Okay, so when we look at your films, there is a nice variety of genres, actually, and all of them are masterfully carry the traces of your author side. And in particular, your documentary film Aus der Ferne, it was shooted in Turkey, and it was screened, I believe, in several festivals, starting from the 2006. Plus, I think Geschwister and Ferien also has authorian side of your Turkish side, let's say. And Geschwister, it's a very internalized production, in my opinion, and of course I can count Bright Nights, the Helle Nächte. In this context, in addition to these, there are Western and action genres and different genres. Which do you feel more closest to your tradition?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because maybe when I'm looking back, I'm not saying this because I'm here in Turkey now, but the experience of shooting Aus der Ferne, from far away, the English title, it was really special because it was a completely different shooting for me. Mostly I'm doing fictional films, and you have to prepare a lot. You're surrounded by 20, 30 people, they're waiting for you, and you have to move from A to B, and it takes you hours for the next take. And this was a completely different and much more free shooting, of course. I did the camera work for myself. I had been the DOP as well, so and we had been 3 people, so just me, the sound man, and the guy who helped us, and this was a really great experience to shoot a film. So you're much more of course you have much more freedom. You're much more flexible. You're really connected to the outside, and we had been able to shoot much faster, of course, because of our little team, and this was a really great experience for me. And Geschwister was special as well, so because it was a very personal story, because it was of course it had been transferred and changed to the modern times when we shot the film, but it was really strongly based on my family story, and this was very special for me. But sometimes I feel the need to step away from my personal stuff when it's too close for me. Sometimes I'm getting bored for myself to always to work on this stuff, and I feel the need to open up more to different topics, to different surroundings, and to get closer to things and areas and topics which I'm not that close normally. So let's say Gold, of course, it's in somehow special as well, because it's my only period film, but I never had the idea. It was never the starting point to make a Western or a period film. I just found by accident a diary about a woman who attended this. Who was a part of this former gold rush, and this inspired me to make more research, because it was, for me, it was more a story of immigrants who try to make a step to a new living, and not, and this was a connection for me. So in Germany, mostly people people are felt them safe to be, yeah, they have to deal with their feelings, so they have to, they are, how can I say, yeah, they going to face other immigrants which are common to Germany, but when you're going back to history, of course, it's the same nowadays. But when you're going back to former German history, German people had been a really huge group of immigrants as well, especially USA, in the mid and the late of the 19th century, but this is nearly forgotten now. And now they pointing with the fingers to other immigrants, which at least have the same reasons to leave their countries and so on. This was some starting points to start this project, but this was really special. I'm not quite sure if I would be a period film as well, so specific problems and budget problems as well, but yeah.
Okay, now I'll pass the word to Professor Öztürk.
Thank you.
Welcome to our symposium. I thank you for contribution for our symposium. Professor Arslan, instead of following economic considerations, your filmmaking seems like stemming from personal issues or self-actualization motives. Actually, it is a general question. You commit to film as an art and as a means of individual expression. But many people, including social scientists, see movies as a kind of entertainment. In your opinion, what is cinema?
Yeah, what is cinema? Yeah, both is okay for me. So when people are going to see cinema as an entertainment, I have no general problems with this because I'm going to watch these kind of films as well as a spectator. Like, I don't know, I'm a huge fan of John Wick, let's say, or Equalizer, and these kind of films. I really like them. But of course, it's different when you go into try to shoot an own film. You have to decide. You can't do everything, and you have to decide what is your special interest in film, and yeah, and I never thought about to make. Oh, I'm a art house person. I have to do art house films or whatever. So it's not my idea of cinema to, and I'm even in this field of art house. Of course, there are so many different films, of course, and you have I don't know. At first, I'm trying to make films which I like to see at my own in cinema. So and of course, I have some special interests, and I like to start from things which are around me, which I know a little bit and somehow, which I have a kind of knowledge, so or all-day life experience with. So this helps me to develop something, and this is important for my filmmaking as well to have this base. Otherwise, I would feel lost. Yeah, I'm really curious to. I haven't watched the new film of the Avenger film, the Marvel film from Zoe Gao. I really liked the first ones of her, the songs my brother taught us, and the second one the writer. They're really beautiful films. And now she's going to make, this is totally crazy for me, and now she is going to make a Marvel movie with 150 million US dollar. I don't know, it's a totally different planets. Maybe it works, maybe not, I don't know. But this is, of course, this is a kind of American topic. Nobody would ask you in Germany to give you $150 million to shoot a film, so I don't have to think about it. So, I like to start, for me personally, I like to start from things which I know and somehow, and which I get, which I, persons and places, I have to know them a bit to get into it and somehow. And what is cinema? Yeah, cinema, this is really hard to say. Cinema is maybe something where you have, which gives you the impression that the world exists. Yeah, this is because when you're going around the streets and you have your all-day life, you don't. Mostly you don't really watch at the streets, you watch at the buildings, at the trees, even not at your closest persons, which you have to deal or are dealing with in your all-day life. And I think when you and cinema is a possibility to get to make a step back or a step forward, or however you like to call it, to have a closer look at it, or a different look at it, on it than you have it on all-day life. And sometimes when it works or it's properly done, or difficult to say, but sometimes then you realize that the things are existing, which maybe you didn't realized before. This is an important thing for me in cinema.
Okay. The second question that I want to ask is this. In many of your movies...
Sorry?
In many of your movies, it seems you create two worlds conflicting with each other. One world is materialistic world, which is dominated by money, and the other world is non-materialistic life and full of emotions.
Mm.
Of course, there are different types of relations, and in your movies, we see many of them. Family, kinship, friendship, love. There are lots of relations, human relations, close relations. According to you, human relations are the real problem in our age, modern age?
Mm. Yeah, definitely it is, but on the other hand, I guess it always had been like this. It had been 200 years ago like this, and I think it had been 500 years ago, and it will be the same in 200 years, but of course in different, it appears in a different way, and societies are getting more and more complex, yeah, and this makes it more complicated maybe, but and it's and yeah, two worlds. I wouldn't say they really separated when you have the, let's say, as you mentioned, the economic world and the world of emotions and family and whatever. So, but these are in a very complicated way connected with each other. So. And even if you have strong feelings or whatever, you never know if they're really true. So that is a big problem. So because it's all mixed up, everything is related to everything else, at least, or influences the other side. And this is very hard to say what are true emotions and what not. This is a very complicated topic, yeah? Yeah, and to find a path through this complicated jungle, of course, is a part of the work, and somehow to have a closer look on this kind of mixture of this relation, yeah. Maybe it's a bit unconcrete, but yeah, I think it's totally mixed, and therefore it's totally complicated to have a closer look on it. So, and at the same time, it's the worst to do it.
Okay. I want to touch the reality issue in your movies. We see the reality in your movies in a different way, reality. It seems like you are searching for the core reality rather than reality as it is. I wonder, what is your viewpoint about reality, both in cinema and in physical life, in the physical life?
Yeah. This is hard to say, because it's at least you never know what is really the core of reality. You learn it from the physics, so that you don't know it, what the core of reality is. It's getting more and more chaotic when you going deeper into it, and maybe it's easier to talk about right or wrong, right. Maybe, we can try to explore some structures, but I wouldn't say that this has to, maybe other people have to tell, but I wouldn't say that I really get into the core of reality. I don't know if I do. So you try to explore something and to develop something, or but you never know if you really get into it, get behind something. And but at least in cinema you have to deal with surfaces, with faces, with streets, with rooms and streets, and I don't believe that much in this psychological cinema, which is trying to get too much behind this what you're going to see. So and get into the heads of the individuals, and I'm very careful with this, and somehow you have to deal with surfaces, and this is interesting as well. This is an interesting part. It's a limitation of cinema, but on the other hand, this is a chance of the cinema as well to work with the surfaces. So.
I want to pass to characters in your movies. Characters seem like puppets in your movies, who are alienated from the world, from the people. Cinematic characters in your movies are similar to those characters in Robert Bresson's movies. Mm-hmm. Robert Bresson's. They have no interest in even the most serious events. Is there any specific reason why you create this kind of characters in your movies?
I'm a really big admirer of the film, still, of Robert Bresson since many years, and I still am. But I'm not. I wouldn't say that I have a different method. I guess it's not, at least not close to. And when you take it serious, not very close to Bresson. Maybe it's also for me. It's not only about alienation when they're not very expressive in front of the camera. These are partly stylistic reasons as well, because on the other hand, I prefer actors which are not too expressive, so which have a tendency to underplay things, and which are comfortable with this, because many actors are the opposite of this, which doesn't mean that they're bad. So they're good actors as well, but it doesn't fit sometimes to special films. I don't want to take away, when I'm working with actors, I don't want to focus my work on to take away everything from him or her. This is not a nice work, I guess, even for me and not for the actors as well. They have to be comfortable and satisfied and somehow as well during the shooting, after the shooting, and therefore I'm trying to choose actors and non-actors as well, so which have a tendency not to be too expressive in front of the camera, because for me it's mostly leads very fast to special cliches of acting, special cliches of the presentation of emotions, which suggests this is something true. So because I'm very suspicious about this, about the true expressions of emotions, especially in this kind of artificial surrounding of a like cinema. It's completely artificial, at least what you're doing, and I'm very suspicious about this aspect. And of course, there are other methods you can work with this kind of a special kind of overacting as well, like. Fassbinder, when you mention Fassbinder, it's a strange kind of mixture about underplaying and overplaying. So it's they underplaying in a Brechtian way. On the other hand, they are hysteric as well. So this is interesting. This is an interesting concept for me as well, and I really like these films. And he's a really still very interesting filmmaker for me. But this is a different approach to cinema, and this is interesting for me as well. Which I don't like that much is that this midfield of I don't know if of this mid kind of realism. This doesn't work that much for me. So I try to underplay things concerning the work with the actors. Because it's. Because I'm very suspicious about the representation of emotions in a straight way. So.
Okay. You oppose the idea of two spaces in your movies, and it seems like you would like us to see one of them is much more convenient for human communication. One space is much more convenient for human communications. A space is very crowded, like a city, and people do not see either themselves or others or other relationships. You have to go to a quiet place in order to solve your problems, to the forest, to the mountain, to the park, to the village. You have to focus on your problems in these places. Do you think that the pace of modern life may prevent us from paying attention to our problems?
Not in general. So because many people are used to handle this kind of pace. When I look at my kids, they 14 and 22. Is much different than our experience, maybe, because they're much faster with everything, with social media, with whatever, and they're not reading that much anymore, or only short texts or text they have to read. So, but of course you can say, oh, this is a big loss and so on. But on the other hand, something will come out of it, maybe, which is not completely bad. It always had been like this when you're going back to history. It was the same arguments when TV came out, when computer came out, and so I'm not quite sure if it's really, and societies are, of course, it causes problems, but on the other hand, it causes chances as well. So I'm not quite sure about this topic, and you mentioned this aspect to maybe it's helpful to go away from this fast-paced living and go into the woods, to the mountains. I'm very critical with this because Ferien, this people in Ferien in the film is a very bourgeois concept, at least. Yeah, to have some vacation, to go inside you and think about something. You only can do this when you have money and when you can go to nice places and have some time to spend there and to go inside you. At least it never works because you bring all your problems with you, and when you're back, all the problems are popping up again. So I think it's somehow this is at least a story for me. You can read it differently, of course, but for me, this is a story of Ferien, at least. So it's not. I have a kind of distance to these people as well. So I'm not that far away from them, but I have, at the same time, I have a distance to this concept of living in nice places, going to nice traveling areas which are totally remote and whatever. This is very bourgeois as well. This kind of this is luxury, at least. Yeah? And when you this is a bit different to Helen Nechter, where the main reason to go to a remote area is the death of the father of the main character. There's a different reason, and he takes his son along, and they trying to find a way to get closer to each other, and this works in somehow because they stuck together in this remote area, and they have to deal with each other. It's a bit different story. So, but in general, I wouldn't say that you have to, have a special amount of money and special. You have to go to the I don't know, to remote places to come to yourself. I guess it's too bourgeois and it does not work. I'm skeptical with this.
In your movies, we see the combination of Italian New Realism and French New Wave. But I think you get together both of them and you create your own style in your movies. But if you want to reach a bigger audience, you have to compose images, not in an intellectual way, but you compose images in an intellectual way. Why do you prefer to compose images in this way?
Yeah, this is not only because, I don't know, it would be very abstract for me to tell myself, okay, I'm going to make a film for everybody. What is it? So it says nothing to me. So I have no idea what could be a film for everybody. So this is much too abstract and somehow, and the opposite as well. I don't want to make films only for my own, of course. So at least, yes, I'm my first spectator, but every time hoping, of course, that there are other people around who get connected to the film and to what I am going to present. And and I think Godard said once, you don't make what you you can't make what you want. You can make what you're able to do. So this is a difference. So and yeah, I don't think about cinema when I'm going to start a film. So, only few people will see it. Oh, what a shame! Let's make it a bit different. So when you let's make it, let's take this inside. Let's take this inside. Then maybe you have a wider audience. I think it doesn't really work when you think like this. So because it's too abstract, at least. So. And you're going lost in abstract ideas, at least. So, yeah, I have, yeah, not a huge amount of spectators, at least. So the films have cinema releases in Germany, DVD, video on demand. They have a lot of festival and they going to be screened on television as well in Germany and abroad in some countries. And all in all, it's not that less. So, but of course, they're not millions for each film, but it's not less, and at least I'm working with, that's the price, maybe. I'm working with smaller budgets as well, so we had various...
How much, for example?
Yeah, we had, let's say for Im Schatten, yeah, we had 500,000 euro, which is really less, so because every usual TV play in Germany has 2 million, 2.5 million. It's really, it's not no budget, but it's really low budget for German, when you compare it to other German productions. And we had only 20 shooting days, so it's very dense and very tight shooting schedule. And these are the price you're having to pay, of course, on the other side. So, but I'm okay with this. I'm trying to handle it somehow. So.
This film, Western Gold, has
a
larger budget, I think.
Yeah, but it was still under the TV play standard in Germany. It was around little less than 2 million and was ridiculous. It sounds not that, it sounds okay at the first sight, but it was much too less for this kind of shooting, and I guess I wouldn't do it again with this. It's different when you're shooting in cities, you know, and you always find a way to adapt the script and somehow, but when you're shooting with 20 horses and carriage and whatever and costumes, this was really a nightmare in somehow. So I wouldn't do it again, I guess, in this way.
Okay, so we can reserve the rest of our time for the question and answer part. Salondan soru alabiliriz.
Erdinç yardım edersen çeviride.
Shall I change this one? Shall I take this one? Because of the...
There is simultaneous translation.
There is a simultaneous translation.
Maybe we can change your microphone.
This
so
one?
you can be more comfortable. Yardımcı olur.
Yardımcı ol.
Please.
Brian.
Tufan Bey, mikrofonumuz var mı? Var, Serkan Bey.
Ortada bir.
very much, Mr. Arslan. My name is Brian Wandeka. I am a student at Moderatör at Bayern University. I would like to thank the moderators. My question is basically, I've watched so far some of the films that you put across. One of them happens to be In the Shadow, that's a 2010 film. Then another one is Bright Nights, that's a 2017 film. And in these films, when I watched, you prefer to use natural sound compared to other films that we see when there is a long pause, they use natural music and then some other things. Then you also use long shots. For example, in one of the films, when the father is going with the son on a long drive to nature, that's a long shot. There is no word spoken, there is no music. So I would like to know from you, what's your motivation to use this other than the music, and then what we normally see in other films? Thank you very much.
Shall I take this one? Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I'm trying to work with a sound similar than with a picture, at least. So they're on the same range for me, the same importance in the same way, and I always. It's very important for me to find the right locations and so on, and to give I'm trying to give the impression on a concrete area, and we mostly don't mix shots between which had been shot there, and suggest to be close together in the film, at least. So I like this kind of film who are working in precise and serious with concrete places, and at least it's the same with the sound. Of course, sometimes we have to re-record something, of course, but yeah, have a great interest in original sound, and have interest in a good original sound, which is not easy to record on a set, especially in the city. So, but this is interesting for me because you always have some elements which you don't can control totally. You have elements which are happening, kids which are crying or whatever, but and birds flying around, and this gives the sound and the film a richer texture for me, as if you would totally construct everything. So it's a matter, yeah. And it's based on what you found during the shooting. It's not because of your concept. This is interesting for me. It breaks your too conceptual way to make a film. And when you mentioned Im Schatten, we try to work with there had been a soundtrack as well from Geir Jensen, a Norwegian musician, better known as Biosphere. Here is his artist name, and he worked a lot with our original sounds, and some parts of his music it's really a combination of the original sound and music, and sometimes, especially at the beginning, when you're hearing this, when you're going to watch on the street, it starts to rain, and it starts with original sound, and the music comes step by step outside of this, develops out of this kind of this original sound. And this, I like to work with this element in this way. Sometimes it's a bit different, of course, because you mentioned Helle Nächte as well. There's one scene, I guess you mentioned this scene with a car ride, which, yeah, but it was not planned. So we found this foggy road, which is, when you're getting higher and higher, it gets more and more foggy until you don't see anything. So when we would have edited it, we tried in the editing room, but it was really boring. So it was nothing, at least. So for me, it was much more interesting to have this organic ride, because you have a feeling for the height of the mountain, or you're getting a feeling for the height of the mountain, and the clouds as well. And for me, it only worked when you really take it as a long shot, but it's not a general concept. So it has to work for special moments. It has to work for special scenes, and sometimes it makes no sense. You have to get another pace, but I'm trying not to work too conceptual with this kind of only make long shots, only make short scenes or whatever. So I'm try to be open what I'm going to find during the shooting and what fits to the scene. So.
Buradan bir soru alalım. İngilizce bir sorunuz hocam.
Tamam, İngilizceymiş.
It's in English.
Okay.
Açık değil galiba.
First of all, welcome to our symposium. It's a great pleasure to see you here, and thank you for coming to our symposium, and it's a great pleasure to see you here. I've got two questions. My first question is regarding the shadow. When I first watched In the Shadows, I observed static, alienated characters, and the acting, the montage, the music are playing and modest during some scenes. However, this simplicity and this technique creates its own simplicity and own perfection, actually. Your style creates own simplicity but own perfection. At this point, actually, I believe that you follow a suggestive approach to attract the attention of the audiences as a director. So I want to ask a question here. Your technique, your style is a kind of step for creating agency with the help of cinematic techniques. I mean, is it a way for building an escape point for the audiences who are looking for, who are searching for a kind of fresh breath within the system of hegemony, I mean, the power?
As the last part of the sentence, sorry.
I mean, your technique, your way, your style is a kind of creating agency matters. I mean, your technique is a kind of helping method for building an escape point for the audiences who are looking for a kind of fresh breath from the hegemony.
Okay.
I mean the system, I mean the drama.
Okay. Yeah, trying to answer like this. This is of course a special kind of story. It's a crime story, yeah, and the main characters are professional crooks, yeah, and they have to hide everything from them, from from the other people because it's safer for them. So this is one realistic aspect because, but of course you can do it in a different way, like mean streets or whatever. So which is more offensive and more in kinds of acting and in terms of acting and camera work. But for me, I don't know. It creates more tension when you don't know that much about the characters, especially when they behaving in this kind of surrounding, and it, yeah, I would describe it similar to you. So it leaves more space for the audience to speculate and to have more and to have some free room to wander, to walk, or to watch the film. And yeah, for me it creates more tension. Not for everybody, yeah, but for me, especially in this story, it creates more tension when you are not aware about every state of every person, every psychological state. When you're insecure as well about the motivation of the characters, like the characters in the film, because they hiding so much from each other. So because it's a part of their job, otherwise they would have been very vulnerable, and this could cost your life in this crime scene. So this was a part of it to handle it like this as well, beneath the stylistic part. And this is a mixture of this.
Özür Hocam, Erdinç Hoca'ya söz vereceğim izninizle. Vaktimiz daralıyor çünkü.
Hello, my name is Erdinç Yılmaz, and my question is about In the Shadows also. In the Shadows there are some characters that are in a power struggle in the context of economy. Their struggle is against the authority, and you can see some other things with the same theme, economic struggle. From the 90s onwards, for example, in European cinema and American cinema too. How can you relate this power struggle in the context of economy with European social reality, or let's say German social reality?
Yeah, it was not really a statement of concerning the social economics in Germany, because this story is completely based on the behaviors of criminals, of professional criminals, and of course they in struggle with the authorities. Their job in somehow. So. Or is it their life? Yeah. But I won't see it as a metaphor for struggling against economic oppression or whatever. So of course, but the main character, he's trying to have he is giving himself his own rules for his life. Yeah? He's trying to have a independent life in a strange way, of course, and this, of course, causes a lot of alienation as well, a lot of distance to a normal life, and this is a topic which was interesting for me. This can you extract maybe to other fields as well. Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Var mı başka sorumuz? Arkadan bir soru alalım. Bir de sonra hanımefendinin sorusunu alalım. Sanırım soru süremiz bitecek.
Merhaba.
Türkçe mi sorumuz?
geçen sahnelerin aslında çok hızlı, pürtüksüz, akışkan ve karakterler nezdinde de düşünceye imkan vermeyecek ölçüde geçtiğini ve geliştiğini görüyoruz. Doğada geçen sahnelerde ise bir o kadar aksine boş zamana hücum etmeyen ve baba-oğul ilişkisini tefekkür ve düşünceye gidecek bir boyuta sahip olduğunu görüyoruz. Etimolojik olarak da Almanca'da, telaffuz için özür dilerim yanlış söylersem, gülük ve lüke yani mutluluk ve boşluk aslında ilintili iki kelime. Yani burada aslında şey var, Michael ve Louis'in mutluluğu, ilişkilerini toparlamayı Michael ve Louis'in ilişkilerini toparlamayı, mutluluğu bu boşlukta mı aradığını düşünmeliyiz? Sorun bu, teşekkür ederim.
Yes, yes, of course. This is important that they city people that they're based in a city. Their main experience, main socialization is city life. Yeah, and when you're going to this kind of vast landscape and it's totally foreign for you. It had been foreign for me as well to go to this Canadian landscapes and to it was one of the first things which one of our cowboy trainers who trained the actors concerning the riding said to me, "Hey Thomas, you're a city boy. I see it, I feel it, you're a city boy." And he is right, of course. So, this is my main experience as well. And when you go to, I feel a kind of lost, yeah, when I'm in open nature. I'm not what to do there, at least. So, and mostly I want to leave after 2 days into some safe area as well again. So it's totally foreign for me, and somehow, yes, this nature, this kind of nature, life in nature. So and it's foreign for these two guys as well, father and son. They absolutely not used to it, and they not at the same time they not used to get along with each other. So and they stuck with this kind of prefiguration in this landscape, and so in this surrounding, and of course this is a environment where you have to do something, where you have to relate to somebody, and it forces you because nobody is around. There's no cinema, there's no other bar, there's no restaurant. You have to deal with the other person, and this was interesting for me to. But it was not really a statement about abstract statement about city life and nature or what is better. So, and the base of these two people is a city life as well, but they lost connection to each other in some way and had a chance there to get a bit closer together. Yeah.
Okay, very quickly for one last question. Sizin bir sorunuz var. Türkçe mi acaba? Tamam, o zaman buyurun.
Hoş geldiniz.
Gelmiyor. Biraz yakın belki. Biraz daha. Evet.
Evet, hoş geldiniz. Bize kısaca Berlin ve Ankara'nın kültürel üzerlerini kıyaslayabilir misiniz? İçinden iki şehirde bildiğinize göre Berlin ve Ankara'nın kültürel uzarlarını bir kıyaslamanız mümkün mü acaba bizim için sinemacı gözüyle?
Ne diyor?
Kültürel uzarları. Ankara ve
Yeah. Yeah, this is a bit complicated to answer because Ankara, I guess, is not really representative for whole Turkey, and Berlin is not representative for whole Germany, of course. But I have experiences with both cities. So I lived here in Ankara for 4 years during my 6th and 10th year, and I had been raised in a smaller town in Essen, in Germany, and Ankara was my first experience of a modern big city. Essen was really small, and 500,000 inhabitants, and Ankara was a really big and modern city, yeah? and was my first experience of a big city. My aunt offered me, got me into the Beatles. I was 6 years, and this was my experiences with Ankara. This is maybe not typical, but this is very hard to generalize, I guess. So I have special experiences in Berlin, and I had special experiences here in Ankara, and it is a bit complicated to compare it, because now I'm living since nearly 35 years in Berlin, and had been very few times here in Ankara, so it's a bit hard to compare. So I would have to be a bit longer here, but yeah, these are big modern cities with a lot of problems, both. So.
Okay, unfortunately we have to end up this talking, but Thomas Arslan will be around here, so you can ask your questions in personal. Bitirmek durumundayız, özür dileyerek vaktimiz daraldı ama buralarda olacak. Sorularınız varsa özelden görüşebilirsiniz kendisiyle. We would like to thank you once again, and we have a small gift which would
oh my God.
Be a memory for you.
Of course. Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation, and thank you so much for listening and asking.